I'm Paul, and I'm here to give you a short theory lesson on first aid. Now, the first thing you ever learn in first aid for almost every course is the initial action. First thing you do in a first aid situation. Could be a car crash, drowning, heart attack, stroke, all the usual things that can go wrong. We have our action plan. DRSABCD. Danger. What could the danger be? Car crash? Maybe. Someone hit by a car, falling off a cliff, drowning. Danger. Water is dangerous. Cars on the road are dangerous. Could be fire, electricity, snakes, crocodiles, sharks, crazy man with a chainsaw, whatever it might be. If you can remove the danger, put out the fire. Turn off the electricity. Whatever. If you can remove the danger, remove it. If you can't, try, if you can, remove the casualty from the danger. Drag them out of the water. Drag them off the road if you need to, if you can, if you're able to. If you can't, and it's too dangerous, run away. Run away, get out of there. Make a phone call, get the experts. Police, fire, ambulance, and that's still first aid that you've done. Look after yourself first. Look after others, other people. Bystanders, keep them off the road, tell them if there's electricity, poison gas, wherever it could be. Last of all, the casualty. If you're physically able to move the casualty, you move them, if you think it's dangerous. For response. Are they awake? Are they asleep? I'm walking along, I see someone lying down. I don't know what's happened. Are they just having a sleep? Are they drunk? Are they unconscious? I don't know. Let's talk to them. Oi, how you going? You right? Make a noise. Touch. Bit of a shake, not too much. Try and wake them up. If there's no response to that person, from that person, as far as we're concerned, that person is now unconscious. Now, doctors and nurses, they'll talk about different levels of consciousness. We don't worry about that in first aid. They're either conscious or they're unconscious. And we assume the worst in first aid all the time. An unconscious person will die if they're left on their back. The tongue will fall back against the throat. Saliva, spit, will build up in the back of the throat over time. It could be bleeding, it could be choking. Smaller people, of course, what can they put inside their mouth? So all sorts of things could be there blocking that airway. An unconscious person left on their back will die unless we do something. Now what about legally? Legally, do we have to do first aid? Well, yeah, in the workplace you have to. We're in a workplace, this is a worker or visitor to your workplace. For all of Australia, yes, legally you have to do first aid. Even if you've never done a first aid course, you do the best you can. And sometimes the best is just making that phone call or telling someone or yelling out, getting someone. What about outside the workplace? Do you legally, not talking about morally or anything, but do you legally have to do first aid? Well, no, actually, for most of Australia, you could walk past someone, complete stranger, and go, I don't want to get involved. Legally, yeah, you can do that and not get in trouble, except for one place. There's one place in Australia where legally you have to help everyone, even if, again, it's just making that phone call. And that place, of course, is the Northern Territory. So everyone's got to help everyone, legal requirement. Response, talk, touch, try to get a response out of them. If we think they're unconscious, send for help. Make that phone call. For Australia, of course, the phone number is 000. Now, other countries have different numbers, 911, 999, and so on. The international number, however, is 112. 112 will work on any mobile phone. If you're out of credit, it'll work. If there's no SIM card, it'll work. If you've got someone else's phone, and maybe it's their phone, you haven't got one, and there's a security code on it, a password, 112 will still work. You're out of range, give it a go, because it'll tap into any network out there. Optus, Telstra, sometimes one works, the other one doesn't. Give it a go. You got a flat battery? Not going to work. Airway, clear that airway. Look inside the airway. Open the mouth, have a look. If you can see it's blocked and dirty, there's stuff in there, we're going to roll them over and clear it out. If there's nothing in there and the airway looks okay, leave them on the back just for now. In this case, yeah, it's blocked, it's dirty. We're going to roll them over into the recovery position. And we'll be practicing that in another lesson with arms and legs and so on. Rolling over, tilt the head back, clearing out any gunk that's in there. What could I be wearing? Gloves possibly? Who carries gloves with them all the time? Maybe just a shirt, hanky, a piece of plastic. There's all sorts of things you could use to protect yourself. Tilt your head, tilt their head, and listen for B for breathing. We did the average breathing rate, we need to check this for a long time, about 10 seconds. I know it doesn't sound long, but 10 seconds is a long time, because they're probably only going to breathe 1 every 4, maybe 5 seconds. And that's only maybe 2 breaths we're going to get in 10 seconds. Watch what I do with my fingers. On the diaphragm, and if they're breathing, they're breathing. You can feel the chest rise, look, listen and feel. Looking, their colour looks okay. Looking, you can see the chest and the stomach rising. Feeling, you can feel it rising. Listen, you can hear sounds of breathing. The more noise they're making, the better off they are. They're breathing, we've rolled them over, wait for the ambulance. Stay with them, of course, make sure they're okay. What if they're not breathing though? No breathing, roll them back, onto their back, and we need to do C for CPR. Now CPR is the next lesson, the practical lesson, so we'll go through the full thing then. But just briefly, CPR, cardiopulmonary resuscitation. Cardio means heart, pulmonary means lungs and breathing and getting the red blood cells going around. R means resuscitation. Trying to save this person. We're going to blow air from our throat, from our lungs, out our mouth, down their throat, and try to fill them up, just like blowing up a balloon. We're breathing at the moment about 21% oxygen. The rest is nitrogen. We don't really use that, and there's a few other bits of gas, but about 21%. We breathe it in. We use maybe 2-3% of that. So there's a good 16-17% oxygen that we can breathe out to blow into another person. It's not perfect, but it's enough to keep them alive. And the other thing, of course, is pumps on the chest to pump that heart, to pump the blood around. The ratio, of course, has changed a bit over the years, but these numbers have stayed for quite a while now. 30 and 2. 30 pumps, 2 breaths. But we'll go more into that for the next lesson. DRSABCD. One of the most important things, defib. New technologies come in the last few decades. Defibs in the past could only be used by doctors and nurses and qualified people, paramedics. But now, of course, you've seen them in supermarkets, at the airports and so on. Anyone can use them. These are automatic defibs. You might hear them called an AED, automated external defibrillator. Anyone can use them. DRSABCD. No response, they're unconscious, they get rolled into the recovery position. Smaller people, kids and babies, yeah, you could roll them over on the ground, that's fine, but it's a smaller person. Pick them up. There's your recovery position. A good way possibly is like so, you're cradling the head and the neck, and again, clear the airway, listen for breathing. If you have to do CPR, it's the same numbers. For babies and for kids, it's all the same. One person doing it, 2 people doing it, it's all the same. In these viral days, of course, mouth to mouth, yeah, could we catch coronavirus? Possibly. We're going to use whatever we can to protect ourselves. The recommendation is any resuscitation is better than no resuscitation. So if you feel it's you're unwilling or you think it's dangerous to put your mouth on someone else's mouth, perhaps a stranger, just do pumps, just do compressions. It's better than nothing. And remember, get that phone call in. Okay, thank you very much.